Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and today we're doing, well, an initial look at the results, not a full post-mortem. I'll have that next week. But we're going to be talking about the results from the gubernatorial elections that happened yesterday. And I'm going to be 100% honest, I was intending to live stream. I actually worked a 12-hour shift yesterday, so I was in no position to be able to do that. So, yeah. I did stay up until Virginia was called, and we will discuss that in detail in just a bit. We'll talk about New Jersey first. But if you like the content, likes, comments, subscriptions, they always do help. I greatly appreciate them, and I want to thank every one of y'all for following me this year, for showing that people actually care about even-keeled looking at an election, and not just looking for pure clickbait. Now, because my eyes are terrible, I'm actually going to zoom in when we get to Virginia, but in New Jersey, you don't have to do that. Yeah, most of the more Republican-leaning counties are almost completely in. Cumberland might get some more votes, but it's not a ton of them. Salem County, that'll give a few more to Ciatarelli or Chittarelli. I've heard a lot of different ways to say that. Burlington, that's close. I mean, it's a very narrow race. We're talking about 15,000 votes across 2.2 million so far. Now, they do expect a ton more to come in. But this is just a case of, Democrats very much underperformed here, and Citarelli kind of is overperforming. And we'll see exactly what the final margin is going to be, but the fact that it isn't called yet with 86% of the vote, of the expected vote reported, that's very bad news for the Democrats. Now, governor's races are a lot less nationalized than Republicans' races, governor's races are a lot less nationalized normally than elections in the House, the House of Representatives, the U.S. Senate, the presidency for sure. But there are every now and then exceptions. One of those big exceptions happened this year, and that was California, which voted very heavily to keep Gavin Newsom as its governor. And I kind of saw it coming. I saw the polls move in favor of recalling him, and then the Democrats realized how much trouble he was in. And this was still before the shitstorm that was Afghanistan and a bunch of other stuff. And I just shut up. Apparently something was going off. Anyway, yeah. That really hurt the Democrats nationally. It definitely hurt Biden's image, and I think that's playing into it. But I think local issues matter, especially in governor's races and state legislative seats. But, we'll see what this means going forward. I don't want to make any hot takes about this, but this kind of confirms that next year could be really bad for the Democrats, because for Virginia to elect a Republican governor, or For New Jersey to be where it is, Biden won the nation by about 5%. New Jersey was won by 16. That's about a D plus 11 state, by my reckoning. Shift it to where the Republican literally is in a dead heat. That's a 20-point swing. Take that to... Not a 20-point swing, sorry. That's a 16% swing. We're talking about an R plus 4 or R plus 5 environment. Virginia is about D plus 7. We're talking about a similar thing here. We're talking about an environment that is showing that this year, at this time frame, we're at about an R plus 4 national environment. Maybe R plus 5. And here's the thing, I really don't think it's going to get any better for the Democrats. Because I think they are expecting to just walk away. Now that they've beaten Trump, and they think that they're going to get all sorts of other things going, right? And I don't think they're going to get a good message because it's just going to entrench this warring factions of their party to become even more entrenched. Progressives aren't going to back down. They're going to say, well, you should have nominated a progressive or run on a more progressive platform. The moderate wing of the party and the establishment wing of the party are going to look at the situation and say, whoa, we lost because you cast us, or because the Republicans were able to successfully cast us as too progressive, as too horrible, is just too far to the left, and all sorts of other things. And I'm going to go and actually look in depth at Virginia first. I wish I could full screen this. I really wish I could full screen the map. Wait. That way I can see what I'm clicking on. There we go. So let's look at the political geography of Virginia. So we've got the Southwest Virginia, Appalachia region, which broadly extends over here, though most of the time this is classified as the Shenandoah, this area. This is South Side and this general area, though in this part there's also some Appalachian stuff. But most of the time this is classified as South Side, this area. Tidewater is basically this area. This is the Eastern Shore, these two counties right here. This is Nova, and then there's kind of a no man's land Piedmont area as well. And other than Nova, Youngkin dominated. Oh, for God's sakes. I'm exiting out of that because... What is that sound? Stop it. Oh, for God's sakes.
She did spin it. She did check it. She did, by spinning it, by showing it to Mr. Halls, gave it to Mr. Halls. We then know that he had the firearm in the church, and that firearm then ended up...
Stop. Thank you. Oh my God. That pissed me off. Sorry about that. Sake. Anyway, so Prince William County.
No, and I appreciate you asking that. That's going to be the biggest question in this case, and that's something we're very on, and we're looking at. We're going to work closely with anything we can to cooperate. The FBI is running forensic testing, evidence, DNA, and fingerprint.
What's going on here?
In terms of who put that
Okay, I think I was just going crazy. Anyway, let's look at this. So yeah, let's start with Prince William. Prince William actually kind of surprised me because for a while it was actually, well, okay, yeah, no, these two are the most likely to be competitive. Looking at Manassas, that's a little more competitive than I would have expected. Manassas Park, that's about where I expected. Fairfax, that's about where I expected, though Youngkin did improve on Trump's margins in every single county and every single city in the Commonwealth. Fairfax City, okay. Arlington, yeah, that was reasonably expected. Alexandria, yeah, that was reasonably expected. Falls Church, yeah, that's about where I expected. Loudon was competitive. Well, not uncompetitive. And Trump lost this mightily bad in 2020. He lost in 2016 by fairly wider margins than this, but these days, if you're a Democrat and you're only winning Loudon by 10%, you've got to be doing very well in other parts of the state. So you have to be doing pretty well in Appalachia. You have to be doing reasonably well in the Shenandoah. You have to be doing not horribly in Southside and Piedmont, Virginia. And you have to be not uncompetitive in the Tidewater region. So let's go and start looking at some. Let's look at Virginia Beach. So apparently, so yeah, Youngkin won it by 8%. That's a big win considering Trump lost Virginia City or Virginia Beach. Ed Gillespie lost Virginia Beach, and yeah. Now Chesapeake is interesting because this is actually a flip from 20. Basically, it's just a flip because Chesapeake is normally, you're gonna laugh, but normally it's a blue area or blue. Technically, it's a city, but it's a blue county. Norfolk. Okay, that's kind of what I expected. Portsmouth, that's kind of what I expected. Suffolk, surprisingly competitive. There was a point in time when it was actually red for most of last night. Isle of Wight, which, yeah, don't ask me why it's called Isle of Wight County, even though it's not an island, but okay. Yeah, it should be voting red. Same thing with Southampton. Should be voting red. We're kind of starting to go more towards South Side, but Franklin City, that's a 400 vote margin, but there's not a lot of votes there. Looking at Greensville, surprisingly competitive. Emporia, well, okay, that's competitive if you look at the raw vote, but let's be honest here, by percentage it's not. Brunswick County, there was a long time last night where Brunswick was red. Sussex, dead close all night. Surrey is the one that kind of surprises me because guess what? Surrey is typically, and actually all of these are normally blue counties. So yeah, now let's look at the Eastern Shore. Accomack, yeah, normally that is a red county, but it's normally not it's normally not uncompetitive, but not competitive. It's kind of in that no man's land between the two. The one that interests me is Northampton County, which, as you can tell, voted for Youngkin. This is normally a blue county. You're going to start seeing a picture here.
And we believe that's what occurred.
Winchester City, I thought it could be competitive if polls were to be believed. Guess what? I was right. It was competitive. A whopping difference of just over 100 votes out of 8,000.
I would say no. And the reason is her father, who
I'm just going to leave that open. Okay. Shenandoah County, that's kind of what we expect. Let's find... Okay. And this is where things start to matter. Wow, Stanton. I thought Stanton could be competitive in the right environment. Yeah, Harrisonburg. College City, by the way, never going to be competitive. Fredericksburg, never expected that to be competitive. Stafford County, yeah, never expected. Well, Stafford's actually competitive these days. So, again, Youngkin winning it by, look at that, 55%. Yeah, or not by 55%, but 55-44. Yeah, that's bad news. York County. Normally it's red, but not this red. Pocasson, that's actually usually an extremely ruby red. Hampton City, this is Hampton Roads, by the way. Yeah, okay. And then Newport News. Okay, that's kind of what I expected. City of Williamsburg, College City, tourist city, and it's just got all the ingredients of... I'll be honest, I spent a little bit of time living in Williamsburg. About 6 months, to be honest. While I helped my family move in down there. And I'm going to be 100% honest. Williamsburg, to me, felt a lot like Austin, Texas, back from when I lived there and went to, well, lived in the San Antonio area, but I went to Austin not infrequently. Yeah, Williamsburg reminds me a lot of Austin. A lot of these really just weird towns. The best part about Williamsburg was Colonial Williamsburg, because, of course it was. James City County, this is a swing county. Yeah, that's good news for Youngkin, obviously. Charles City County being competitive is interesting. Henrico, that's about what I would expect for a Democrat. Well, not that. Actually, a little bit more than that, to be honest. Richmond City, that's kind of what I expect, about 80%. We go down to Chesterfield. Of course, Youngkin won this, and that's, of course, good news for him. Hopewell City is a flip for Youngkin, but that's 17 votes. So, yeah, I would expect even, absentee provisionals to maybe change that result, to be honest with you. Like, this is one of those that I'm like, yeah, but this would be a flip as it stands right now. Prince George, okay, that's reasonably expected. Petersburg, yeah, I don't think I ever expected that one. Colonial Heights, yeah, that's solid red territory. Dinwiddie, okay, Amelia. The best named county in all the country. Goochland County, yeah, that's where I would expect it. Let's take a look at Albemarle County, which is blue. And is that heavily blue because of how big Charlotte and how heavily Democratic Charlottesville is. University of Virginia, for those in the know. Yeah, so that's kind of the weird thing. But again, Youngkin improved on Trump's margins everywhere. Least populated county in the Commonwealth, Highland County. Yeah, that's what I expected. Lexington, I believe these two are normally Republican cities. Yeah, Buena Vista, I know for a fact, is Republican. Rockbridge, I know Covington is Republican. Amherst, usually Republican. Bedford, usually Republican. Campbell, yeah. Appomattox is almost always Republican. Prince Edward is usually a competitive county. This is borderline Youngkin blowout. And now let's move to another bellwether in the Commonwealth, Lynchburg. Again, borderline blowout for Youngkin. And then let's move, okay, Botetourt's like that. So Roanoke County actually has a healthy amount of people. And yeah, it's safe Republican. Moving to Salem, which is actually a Republican stronghold. Not normally by this type of a margin, but certainly by upper 50s to lower 40s. We go to Roanoke City. This is actually surprisingly competitive for the city. Normally, it's in the mid to upper 60s for Democrats, if I remember correctly. Danville was competitive. Heck, Martinsville was only 13%. Let's look at Galax is a very Republican city. That's Norton, right? Yeah, Norton, very Republican. Lee County, yeah, this is the most Republican county in the Commonwealth. Bristol, that is a very Republican. But here's the one that's interesting, and this is when I knew McAuliffe was in trouble, was when I started seeing results from City of Radford and Montgomery County. Now, Montgomery County, this is the first time since I think Mitt Romney won Montgomery County that it's voted for a Republican. And here's why this is a big deal. There's one big town in Montgomery County called Blacksburg. Actually, I almost want to say there were more votes in Montgomery County than there were in Roanoke. Yeah. Ouch. Anyway, so yeah. There's Blacksburg, which is a Democratic stronghold. There is, mostly because of Virginia Tech. We're talking about a place that in this area, this neck of the woods, I live in the New River Valley. In this neck of the woods, it's called the People's Republic of Blacksburg. That's the joke. Christiansburg is not really a Republican area, but it's a swingy area these days. But yeah. And then, of course, City of Radford. I did not expect it to flip by as much. I had a little bit of inside baseball on this one. I know some of the bigwigs politically in that city. And some of the polling was very encouraging, but I put a damper on it and said, okay, maybe it's a flip, maybe it's just the narrowest of narrow losses. Yeah. 10% win. So let me put it this way. The Schadenfreude of this has been fantastic. I've been enjoying watching Democrats panic. Because this shouldn't have happened. McAuliffe just spent the last month and a half of this campaign shooting himself in the foot. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I'll probably have a full post-mortem next week, so take it easy. Have a very, very nice day.